think that's working. If only there was a sign that we were actually live. No. That's it. Lewis's nerves know every time. I don't see any bits coming in, though. Is it working? Testing. Yep. Oh. I see something. Oh! And we're live. I think I just pulled my vocal cords.
Jeez.
How's it going, Lewis?
Oh, it's great. It's just going great.
God, you're just...
What a day I've had.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh. Griffin and I were looking at a page on our site, and for some reason, a YouTube embed overtook the entire page.
Oh,
it was
wonderful.
Like looking at, it was like scrolling down was like that freaking black hole scene in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Everything's warped out of it. I still to this day have no idea what was going on. Plus, on the mobile site, it showed a completely different video.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's insane.
All the images, for no reason at all, were like 2,000 pixels tall.
I mean, that sounds fine. People love images.
That was just awesome. And you know what's the really the great thing is the only thing I changed in it was I shortened the length of a link text, an inline link, because I saw it's kind of long, and I think I'll change it. And if I changed it, it fixed everything. Although the last time I checked, we still had the other video on the mobile site. If anybody can fix that, come on, we got a job for you.
I can fix it, Lewis.
Oh, come on down.
You gonna pay for my plane ticket? That's the question.
I think you might be able to do it remotely.
Nope. Got to be in front of the mainframe, Lewis. That's the only way. Got to hack into the mainframe.
The bunker under the Caney house.
Oh man, I've been in that level of the Caney house. I still have nightmares about it. I don't wish to ever go back.
I've hit my head on that ceiling, and I'm not a tall man.
It's like waking up in the movie Saw. You don't know where you are, but you're sure you're going to be tortured soon. And then, like, you hear like this, like these terrifying noises and this clunking, only to hear El Caney walking down those creaky wooden steps and nothing but his tidy whities.
Oh, yeah. There's an image.
All right, we got a lot of people here. Wow, people are interested in this program here today with the huge deluge of Apple products. We got Darth Inkling. We've got Hugo Last. We've got Hugo Last with a $25 donation. Here's some money for new software. Well, I don't think I need any new software, but I'm sure El Caney probably does. He's probably still using iWeb to run the Cult of Mac websites. We got Level Remix. We got BMST Group. So business-like. We got the dude. We got Tomas. We've got Quorum. I think we're good to get this thing rolling. We got a lot of stuff to do, and I got to be walking these sweet but muscular buns out the door in 68 minutes. Oh my gosh, I don't think we have enough time.
I got a great idea of something you could do right now.
Oh, I know what you want. You are a singular-minded creature, Lewis. I've just read into your consciousness. You want the tweet action. You want to get your hands on that sweet,
deep
delicious...
down in my soul, okay. I need a tweet.
I need a tweet. You got
I think we have so many live listeners because I remembered to post on Mastodon again this week. That must have been where they all came from.
Oh, man. Can I press this button? Oh, yeah, I'm sure that probably helped. Can I press this button to go live on Twitter? I don't know what will happen if I press this button. I added in a mechanism to stream to Twitter. And, of course, everything's ad hoc and haphazard as it always is here. And I'm like, I haven't even tested this. Press this button and see if it actually works. But I downloaded a new plugin into OBS to see if we could stream to Twitter. And this will either cause my computer to completely melt down and will not be able to do a show for months, or it will work. Or it will do nothing. I guess that's our other option. Should we go ahead and press the button and just see what happens? I'm so deeply curious. Let's just press it.
Just okay. If everything immediately is ruined, then I have permission to make fun of you for the end of time.
Oh, well.
You understand that, right? Okay.
That's totally understandable. But I don't see a single thing working. I see absolutely nothing. Does anyone see anything happening on the stream? I put in my stream key, and it doesn't look like my CPU usage went from 1% to 2%. So that's something.
What do you mean? Where are you saying to look for this?
It's supposed to be on my account.
Your X page.
X.com/Airfon. Let's see. Did it work?
Nothing.
Nothing's
see
there, dude.
I see the tweet
Okay.
about the regular tweet.
Absolute. Let's see. Output settings. Sure.
I wonder if
Man, who's in charge of that Twitter thing? They need to
hire,
get their act
They need to
together.
hire some employees. Main encoder. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it should be working, so I have no idea what's going on.
I did not receive a notification on my iPhone.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to figure it out next time.
Oh, very
I've got somebody here who's
very disappointing.
Very eager to say hi to us. Oh, Mrs. D. Where is she? Mrs. D. She's excited today. Oh, Mrs. D, how you doing? Oh, I'm fine, my dear. I've also been in the basement with El Katie. Oh, no. And yes, it is quite a dungeon, and we have reorganized a bit and made a room for a sensual dungeon. Oh, no. Swings, whips, dips. Oh, you'll love it, my boy. I actually won't, Mrs. D, but Lewis might be interested. He actually looks like he's very curious about that situation. So you can use the new
building a fence around my house.
He sent him an invite with the new Apple Invites app. If you don't mind, let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. You've nauseated all of us. Why does it keep deselecting my stream? God, OBS, what the heck is going on here today? Stream's not working. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so we'll get it rolling. If you don't mind, Mrs. D, in 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Griffin. Join me today. He recently discovered that placing pictures of Cult of Mac riders on the high point parts of the dartboard increases his accuracy, and his average score is skyrocketed to 86%. He's the managing editor of Cult of Mac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Man, that would be sweet.
Also with us, he's hoping to one day migrate his consciousness into iCloud, thus eliminating the need for his corporeal form. He just hopes that he can afford the charge for the additional iCloud storage space. They just keep upping those prices, don't they, Lewis? He's a writer for Cult of Mac. Griffin Jones is here.
Good evening. Erfan, have you returned your computer in the last week?
No, I still have it.
Oh, wow.
I still have it. In fact, I'm prepping my M1 Max MacBook Pro for sale. You know, I got to admit, man, I don't really love the silver color. The computer itself, absolutely love. But I'm such a space gray guy. The space gray is just like the perfect color. But I think I'm going to stick with it. Although, part of me, an increasingly large part of me, wants to get the Mac Studio. I can get for the same money. I can get the M3 Ultra Mac Studio with 96 gigs of RAM and a 2 terabyte hard drive. Now, the only problem is what would I ever do to necessitate all of that power? Absolutely nothing. But I was thinking if I got a computer with that amount of power, I could finally get one of those YouTube videos released. So, like, that would be a pretty big bonus. And I've been trying to do that for weeks, if not longer. So, but I don't
It's clearly the missing link.
I think that might be it. I don't think, though, that I could own both the MacBook Pro and the Mac Studio. That seems to kind of be overkill. So I was like, well, maybe I'll sell or return the MacBook Pro, get the Mac Studio, and an M4 MacBook Air.
Oh, my
Hey,
I'm not going to do it. I'm not
I
going to
just
do
want
it.
to make
I'm not going to
something
do it.
abundantly clear to our listeners that I don't want you to be misinformed. Again, I want to reiterate, I do all of my work with an M2 Mac Mini, and it is more than efficient. And you know what? I put out a video on the Cult of Mac YouTube channel every single week.
Yeah,
you
but
don't have to have the absolute latest, fastest Mac ever to release a YouTube video.
no, you don't.
Really?
But
They still do. You can still do videos on an M2 Mac Mini.
yeah, but
Interesting.
how long does it take you to export a video? Typically, 5 minutes.
Okay, there's not 5 minutes. There's so much work that you have to do after you export a video, like make the thumbnail, write the YouTube description, all that stuff, where like the time that it takes to export is completely immaterial.
Oh, I beg to differ. Just think of what you could accomplish with your life. Instead of exporting in 5 minutes, you could export in 4 minutes and 40 seconds. You didn't think about that. I could see from your face.
Well,
that
I
was
can
a
also imagine
possibility.
what I could do with $4,000, and I feel like that would have a much bigger impact than upgrading my computer for no
I'm
reason.
not sure it would, because if I remember correctly, you spent $4,000 on the Vision Pro.
Yeah, which I use every day.
Fair enough. All right, let's see
And you know
here.
what I don't have? Another $4,000.
Yeah, well, it's hard to keep buying the $4,000 Apple releases. I don't think I'm going to get the Mac Studio, although I am incredibly tempted to get it. But I really have no reason to get it. And to be honest, it's like I told myself, until I'm actually producing videos that necessitate a machine of that caliber, I'm going to just stick with the 14-inch MacBook Pro, which I absolutely love and adore. And it's going to do everything that I could possibly need it to do, and more. Like I even wonder when I do start making videos, which is going to happen any day now, if I'm even going to make that MacBook Pro even break a sweat, even in the 14-inch, where the fans seem to come on a lot more than 16-inch. I'm like, I wonder if I'll even be able to get the fans to come on that thing. I don't know, because I'm not going to have. Yeah, maybe I should give it a shot. Hey. All right, look. Before we dive in, it's my great pleasure to give you an opportunity to fill your fridge with some absolutely delicious food from Factor. Absolutely love Factor, and I'm looking forward to getting some more of their meals inside my fridge. It's like having takeout in your fridge available at all times. Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat in 2 minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. And the food is never frozen. It's all fresh. All the recipes are like distinct from one another and taste really good. I typically get the Protein Plus meals, but I'm venturing into a new realm. I'm going to try their keto meals, which I think are going to be similar to the Protein Plus, to be honest with you, because keto and Protein Plus, I think the types of ingredients they use are just similar. And I'm thinking about doing keto for 3 months. I recently had some blood work done, and I was like, it'd be interesting now that I have like a baseline and I know where I'm at. I've heard that keto improves your metabolic health, but you got to do it for like 10 to 12 weeks. And I was like, I wonder, the hard part about keto is you having to prep all the meals. Like, it's a lot of work, and it's not just work because you have to do the meal prep. You actually have to know what meals will keep you in ketosis and what meals will kick you out if you have too many carbs or too much protein or something. So there's a lot of math that goes into it. And it would be so much easier just to have someone just cook those meals for you. Well, maybe keto is not your thing, but they've got a lot of other meal choices. They have 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, so it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. You can choose from preferences like I mentioned: keto, Protein Plus, Calorie Smart. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code factorpodcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's factormeals.com/factorpodcast. The code is factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/factorpodcast. I keep saying the URL over and over again because they changed the URL. The new URL is factormeals.com/factorpodcast, and the code is factorpodcast. And with the discount, you'll get a bunch of really delicious food for a super great price just to try it out. So it's worth it just because you'll get a bunch of meals inexpensively, and you can see how you like them. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. Of course, everything on this show is going to be all the stuff that Apple announced this week, of which there was an absolute plethora. And before we dive into that, I just want to show you my absolute favorite story of the week. Here it is right here. John Gruber he just couldn't help himself. He couldn't help himself. He came out with a tweet saying, "Your source for scoops," 18 hours before they're announced, commenting on Gurman's post this week about the products that were going to be coming out. And for some reason, Gruber felt it necessary to dunk on Gurman. Like, first of all, even having a scoop 18 hours beforehand, I think that alone is impressive. Not a lot of people know what Apple is going to do before they do it. So, like, even if all Gurman had done, am I not showing the story? No, I'm not. Here we go. Even if all Gurman had done was reveal the products before they had come out, I would have been impressed with that. But so Gruber is like clowning on him for only getting it right, like a day before it happened, and then Gurman in true form, man, comes back with, "You mean 11 months ago?" and puts a screenshot to an article he wrote almost a year ago where he said that Apple is going to be testing Mac Studio versions with M3 Ultra and M4 processors. And after that, man, it was just kind of crickets after that. Oh, no, I guess Gruber does respond here. I got to say, I know it's silly and petty, but just the squabbling amongst the people who typically people look to get Apple Intel in the Apple ecosphere, I just find to be really funny. And I don't know, man. I mean, we poke fun at Gurman a lot. I don't think anyone does it even more than we do. But it's with nothing but love. I mean, Gurman is one of, if not the most accurate person in the world of Apple anything. And I just don't question him because he is precise, man. He's like the Rain Man of Apple leaks. The guy almost never gets anything wrong. Like, he doesn't report on stuff until he's very sure. So I just think it's pretty funny when people try to dunk on him because I'm like, he's almost like an auteur in this area. Like, he has got like perfect recall. Anyway,
Jason Snell pointed out that what he tweeted late on Sunday night, immediately before or whatever night it was, like the day before the announcements, was pretty much all the information that everybody in the Apple Tech press got at the same time. Gurman, just for whatever reason, broke the embargo and just like said, "Oh yeah, tomorrow they're going to announce this," and I guess that pissed a lot of people off. Like,
okay.
Steve Troughton-Smith posted on Mastodon with an opinion that I largely agree with. He said, "Always funny when multiple Apple outlets try to assassinate somebody's character simultaneously out of the blue, almost like somebody in app marketing got huffy and asked for a favor on background."
Oh, man.
Unfortunately for Apple, getting a digit wrong in an opinion piece doesn't discount 15 years of industry-leading reporting, but they'd really like some suckers to believe that it does.
I could go on. I don't want to be mean, but I just thought that this was really funny. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no one that Mark doesn't try to dunk on if they say anything about his stories or him. And sometimes I think he just takes it too far. As far as trying to correct the record, he's just let it go. But not this time. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. Should we start with, I would say, probably the most popular product here, Griffin, that people were waiting for?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
MacBook Air gets the M4 treatment, lower price, and stunning new color. The M4 MacBook Air brings big power to the entry-level MacBook. This is like the big news for all the tech nerds like us. It can now drive 2 external 6K displays, like Apple's Pro Display XDR, or I think the much cheaper BenQ display that's coming out that has like a 6K resolution as well. It can drive 2 of those in addition to its own built-in display. Again, on the base model MacBook, so this is a pretty big development there. The M4 carries the same 18-hour battery life as before. It can now be upgraded to 32 gigabytes of memory, which is up from the 24 gigabyte limit. This part is for you specifically.
All right.
Sky Blue replaces Space Gray
it.
in the color options, joining Midnight, Starlight, and Silver. Apple's press release describes it as a beautiful metallic light blue that creates a dynamic gradient when light reflects off its surface.
Oh,
You can just like
on a minivan.
Yeah, you can
just like on Mom's minivan, Mom's Honda Odyssey, circa 1996, maybe. I'm trying to remember the year.
Well, allegedly. Again, their picture makes it look blue, but we've fallen for the same trap with the iPads. I'm excited to see whether it actually does look blue when you have it.
There it is.
Just a bluer shade of gray.
It's a 2011 Honda Odyssey. Look at that beauty. Every mom in the country wanted one of those vans. And I've got one. I got a 2014, and it is a terrific vehicle. Way more fun than I ever thought it was going to be. I never thought I would be a minivan person. But I always remember growing up seeing these like light blue minivans. And now Apple has like a strange obsession with this color. They've created several products that were exactly this hue. And they must sell well.
It's a popular color. Pastel colors are in right now. It's a popular color.
Yeah, maybe. Looking at the picture, I didn't really love the blue color, to be honest with you, but other than that, I think I think the consensus is, and I certainly agree with this. Like, what an absolutely astounding value! Like, this really probably is the best laptop for most people that has ever existed. Some people are saying it's the perfect laptop. I don't think I would take it that far. I would love to see 512 gigabytes of SSD for $999. I realize that's probably asking too much. I mean, now that they have 16 gigs of RAM, I think that's probably
here's the thing. They cut the price by $100 across
That's
the board.
right.
So
That's
now
right.
it starts at $999. But the thing is, you can now upgrade to 512 gigabytes for much cheaper than you could before. Previously, $1099 was the entry point. Now you can buy a one with 512 gigs of storage for $1199, only
That's right.
$100 more. So
That's right.
You're
That's
effectively
right.
getting that upgrade for cheaper, and it also gives you the unbinned full power M4 chip.
Oh, it's
So that's
unbinned, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
that's also another good call out here. So I
So the
just think that,
$1199 model is a really great one.
yeah, that's the one that I would definitely go for. I think, and if my
Yeah.
wife needs a new computer, which we are going back and forth about because of all the error codes that she's getting on hers, this would be the one that I would buy. They're going to sell a zillion of these things. Speaking of which, we did get a comment. So you probably know this. In the show notes now, you can text us, and they go straight to me and Griffin, so we could see all your text messages. Where's that comment? Someone sent in a blurb. Here we go. Yeah. Oh wait, oh no, this is it. Unfortunately, the person didn't leave their name. They said, "Hey, Airfon, I have an M1 MacBook Air with 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage from 2021. Runs like a dream." So I don't know what the deal is, man, but that's definitely not been my experience or my wife's experience. And like I mentioned before, my wife is like the person that you would think would be the one who could take advantage of like a bare bones MacBook Air. And she has had nothing but issues with error messages and other problems. Now, I did clear off a bunch of space on her computer. So that may fix the problem. I'll have to check back with her because her SSD was kind of getting full. So maybe it was running out of like, scratch disk space for offboarding stuff from the memory. Maybe that was the problem. I don't know. But even when I use it, I'm like, this thing's definitely slower than it should be. And I think that, especially because the SSD is just one single SSD. The other detail, Griffin, that I think we need to mention is, from what I heard from Max Tech, Apple is putting 2 SSDs in for all of these models, which means that you're basically writing to the SSDs in like a RAID 0 situation. So it creates much, much faster write speeds. I think, in fact, almost double, if not more than double. So they corrected a lot of the issues that people had with previous generation MacBook Airs. I mean, in fact, I think they corrected all of them. And now you have really no compromises in this machine. And they even lowered the price with the increase in tariffs. So
And
I don't
even
really know
better,
what else you could ask for.
Even better, they no longer carry one of the old MacBook Airs to like sort of have an imaginary price point. Like the $999 MacBook Air, the cheapest one they have for sale is the most current best MacBook Air. Like they don't sell the M3 or M2. Those are gone. Like there's no bad MacBook Air really anymore. It's great. A few more minor tweaks. It has a center stage camera in it now with the desk view feature as well. Apple calls out a lot of comparisons to the last Intel MacBook Air, the one from early 2020. I think because everybody bought a MacBook Air in like April, May of 2020. And so like there's like millions of people out there with like the MacBook Air they bought during COVID. But Apple says in their press release, the M4 delivers up to 23 times faster performance than that model.
Wow.
Microsoft
Sheesh.
Excel is up to 4.7 times faster. Video editing in iMovie is 8 times faster. Like all those people, it is the golden hour for those people to upgrade. It's another $100 cheaper in the education store, so it's just $899, which is just unbelievable. This is a great computer. I should say that I placed an order for the for the base model in sky blue. I'll be picking it up next Wednesday at the Polaris Mall Apple Store first thing in the morning. So I'll be writing the review on that at Cult of Mac.
Will you be signing autographs while you stand in line?
I mean, hey, if any listeners are there,
Bring your own
like,
Sharpie.
Yeah, sure, I will.
Dude, I don't often have instances where people recognize me. Obviously, I'm not that famous, but I have had a couple. And I don't say this to like to make it seem as though I'm like this really cool famous person. I always think it's strange when it happens, and also most people who listen to the show listen to the audio podcast, right? So like they wouldn't even know what I look like, and in both instances, I think the people recognized me by my voice. Now, one was at Macworld, so that actually made sense. The other one, I was at Disneyland. I think I've talked about this on the show before.
Yeah, that also makes sense.
oh yeah, just someone at Disneyland just recognizing me by my voice. I was getting off the Indiana Jones ride, and somebody goes, "Ervon?" And I turn around, and there's a person there that I didn't know, and he's like, "My name is Michael," and I was like, "Oh, hi." He's like, "I listened to your show." He recognized me from my voice, and not only that, but this was a person who had hooked me up with discounts in the past when they worked at Apple. I mean, what a coincidence that is. And as soon as he told me his name, I was like, "Oh, dude, I of course, like, this is amazing." I was like, "Did you know I was going to be here?" Because maybe I talked about it on the show. He's like, "No, I'm here randomly. Like, outside the Indiana Jones ride, and I heard your voice, and I turned around, and I saw you, and I recognized you." How crazy is that? So maybe that's in your future, Griffin.
Were you saying something like,
I already
"Geez, that
was
ride was the
recognized.
greatest thing since Apple Silicon"?
I did. I was saying exactly that. I was like, do you remember how they upgraded the to the M1 Ultra chip for the Mac Studio? That was one of the biggest increases in performance we'd ever seen. I talked about it on my program. Then he recognized me, Lewis. All right.
All starts to make sense.
So I really want one of these machines. I don't really have a reason to buy one, although I would love to have something that's super lightweight. This is my logic for wanting the Mac Studio and the MacBook Air. You got the best of both worlds. You got the performance when you need it, the best performance, and then you have the portable. I don't actually need to do any heavy lifting. I just want to have something for my living room. So when I'm browsing the internet, like whatever, it's like for that situation, I'm like, this actually does make a lot of sense. I'll have the powerful one and then the lightweight one. But then,
You know,
of course, it's going to cost a lot of money.
You.
Yeah.
Okay, I challenge you.
Okay. Challenge
Buy
accepted.
the base model MacBook Air for your wife, and then I want you to try editing a video in Final Cut on that MacBook Air, because I'm telling you, these are so incredibly capable machines. It might feel like, oh, it's a laptop, it can't do anything, I can't do any work on this. You really can.
I believe you. I don't know if you could do the caliber of video editing I plan to someday do.
You definitely can.
Someday in the future, you know? And I want to be ready for all potential scenarios, like video editing scenarios, until I realize I actually don't have time to edit videos and I have to just hire an editor. And then I have like this super powerful machine that I don't even use because I'm not even doing the editing myself. But I totally believe that. I think that you probably could do, especially the type of videos most people create where it's not actually a lot of editing. It's just like some simple timeline edits. I'm not going to be doing any advanced motion graphics or anything. I don't even know how to do that stuff. So, and I'm not going to have like a 10 or 20 deep timeline of things one on top of another with all these different effects. I'm not even going to have any effects. Maybe some light titles. I could probably do that on a Intel MacBook, and be fine. All right.
So
well,
if you get the new MacBook Air and the new Mac Studio, is that basically like a tech mullet?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way, but that's why we have you on the program for insights like that. The tech mullet. Let's talk about the machine I know that we're all excited about. The 2025 Mac Studio. Now, some of you may be mad because we didn't get M4 Max. And if you had read any of Gurman's stories a year ago, you would have known that. But you know what? I'm not even that mad. And I still really want one. Now, of course, I think that it would be much better if we had the M4 Ultra as an option in this machine. And I think it's a little strange that you go M4 Max in the base to M3 Ultra, which is two M3 Max chips. But this thing's going to be so insanely powerful. I don't think it matters.
Apple said in a statement to Ars Technica that it just takes a really long time to engineer the Ultra chips.
I guess so.
So
years apparently.
I mean, it's their highest end chip. Like it's their equivalent to like the Xeon chips, which always were, years behind as well. If you want the extra, if you really need like multi-core parallel performance, it takes a longer, it's going to be like a generation old, but it's still going to be more powerful.
And the M4 was basically just a spec bump of the of the M3. So I think that the M3, especially if you go with the M3 Ultra, the higher spec, so you're going with like this always gets so confusing, right? Because they have the lower end max chip and then the higher end max chip with the more CPU and GPU cores, or I guess just CPU cores at this point. I can't even recall. So you're gonna get such an absolute monster. I don't even think that it's gonna make that big of a difference. This thing's going to be more powerful than I think virtually anyone could possibly need. So you probably know all this. I'll breeze through some of these specs. The new model starts with M4 Max, 16 CPU cores, up to 40 GPU cores, half a terabyte a second of unified memory bandwidth. It starts at 36 gigs of unified memory with support for up to 128 gigs. That's if you get the Max model, which I think is like one of the best values in computing that you can get. You can also configure it with the M3 Ultra. It's not the M4 version, as I mentioned. The M3 Ultra offers up to 32 CPU cores and 24 performance cores, 50% more than any previous Ultra chip. It also offers up to 80 GPU cores, which is, I don't know what you would do with that many cores. And the base for the M3 Ultra version of memory is 96 gigs. And it comes with 1 terabyte of storage, which I think is kind of a little too low for my purposes. I would definitely bump that up to 1 terabyte. Oh, but the other thing I didn't mention is you can get up to 512 gigs of memory. Absolutely bonkers.
I checked to see if you could configure it with 512 gigabytes of memory and also a 512 gigabyte hard drive, because that would just amuse me deeply that you could have your entire hard drive active in memory, but you cannot. If you update the memory that high, then it forces you to have a terabyte of storage.
I'm really looking forward to see. Well, first of all, the M4 Max Studio, I think it's going to be an absolutely outstanding machine. Like I was almost tempted to like return my MacBook Pro and just get that, but I need portability, so that's obviously not going to work for me. But if you don't need portability, I think that purchase right there is probably one of the best value propositions in computing. The Ultra version is going to be an absolute monster for the next 2 or 3 years. I don't even know why you would need so much power. What are you doing? I guess if you're doing like machine learning and stuff, then you need all the power that you can get and all the memory that you can get. So there's that. But other than that, there's absolutely no reason that I could think of that I would ever need an Ultra. I'm like,
training.
you'd have to be editing like 12K timelines or something.
I saw somebody post today that like if you just get 2 of these machines, then you can run like the most advanced like DeepSeek R whatever number model on it locally on device using just 2 of these machines.
That's bonkers.
That's like a $8,000 worth of computer sitting on your desk. But if that's a part of your daily workflow, the Macs are the best machines for this because they have incredibly high memory bandwidth. Like they're approaching a terabyte per second of memory bandwidth, which is just insane. And like, yeah, they're not modular like PCs are. You have to order it once with all the memory, and that's all the memory you ever have. But like unlike a PC, it's unified memory. So all of this memory is available for graphics or AI or like whatever you're doing. These machines are one of a kind in the industry. It's insane.
I thought about getting the new Mac Studio and getting rid of the Colt Commander and just having one machine for all of my computing, everything. And that is kind of a tempting prospect for me. I'm like, I could get rid of like this huge PC that I built, which I actually kind of love. The only thing that stops me from doing that is gaming with an NVIDIA 4080 is going to always be better than gaming on a Mac. So if I didn't have that gaming requirement, then I actually would probably get rid of the Colt Commander and just stream from a Mac Studio. I love how small it is. I mean, the amount of power that you get in the form factor is just absolutely mind-blowing. If I could show you guys Colt Commander, you could see how huge it is, how many fans I have. I could always hear it. In fact, I have an application that I can use to tweak the fan speeds just so it's not always like blowing super loud when the CPU and GPU are not hot. The Mac Studio is like silent but violent. It sits there, it's small, and it can do absolutely anything that you could possibly want to do, except for, I think, be a really great gaming machine. So for me, I don't think that it really makes sense for me to get one until I'm editing my 12K timelines.
There's like one game a year that comes out on the Mac. And Apple always tells you about it in every keynote.
That's right. And it runs great, 100 frames per second.
It was Stray, then it was that that Lara Croft game, then it was No Man's Sky, you know.
I appreciate that they keep trying. I mean, I actually wish I had taken advantage of my Apple Arcade trial when I bought my iPhone, because my kids really love the iPad games that are available at the Apple Store. And there's like this one in particular, like this Crayola coloring game where you can like color eggs and then it hatches a dragon or something. And Apple took all those games out of the iPads at the Apple Store. So now when we go there, my kids don't have as many games to play. And I was like, it'd be really cool if they could play those games at home. And that Crayola game, they charge like $5 a month for. You can't just buy it. You have to like rent it from them. In fact, it might even be more. I think the game, just that single game, is more expensive than Apple Arcade is, which includes that game. Do the math for me on that. So I was like, oh, it'd be cool to like take advantage of Apple Arcade, but like all the games that are on there that we would want to play are all the games that my kids would want to play. Like I don't really actually care about the AAA titles on Apple Arcade, nor do I think anyone else does. But yeah, I'm impressed with the Mac Studio. I don't even really mind that much. That's the M3 Ultra. I think I was kind of surprised by that. And I'm trying to get people to convince me to buy one, but no one's given me a solid reason to want to drop this much money on one yet. All right. Should we talk about iPad Air, Lewis? Because I think this is actually a huge upgrade.
Yeah, you're excited about it?
I'm not buying one.
About the Mac.
I'm not buying one. I just got the M4 iPad Pro 11-inch, which I'm happy with that so far. I think I'm going to stick with that. But you know, this is probably all I would actually need.
Yeah. Okay, so the iPad Air gets an M3 speed boost and a new Magic Keyboard. Always hard for me not to say MP3 when I see M3 for some reason. Let's see. New iPad Air retains the same design as predecessor, with the only notable upgrade being the M3 chip. It's an older chip, yet it brings a decent speed boost. Apple says the M3 iPad Air is almost 2 times faster than the M1 version. And compared to the A14 Bionic-powered iPad Air, the new model's up at 3.5 faster. It's great how they just keep comparing it to older and older things. But anyway, let's see. No price increase. That's nice. It starts at $599 for the 11-inch model and $799 for the 13-inch model. Alongside that, Apple unveiled a redesigned Magic Keyboard for the iPad Air. Features a larger trackpad and a 14-key function row. Yay! Everybody loves a function. Let's see. Apple lowered the price of the revamped Magic Keyboard. This is great. I love seeing Apple lower prices. It's kind of shocking.
I know it is very surprising, especially with the tariffs, man. Aren't the tariffs like 10% now?
Yeah, I started having a conspiracy theory that what they're doing is they're lowering them, and they're going to raise them like in a month and say, oh, it's because of the tariffs we had to raise them, and they'll raise them like even higher than they were.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
That could never happen, right? Sure. Anyway, let's see. Revamped Magic Keyboard, 11-inch model costs $269. 13-inch model is $319. This new keyboard works with the M2, M1, and A14 powered iPad Airs. That's nice. Reverse compatibility. Unfortunately, it only comes in white.
I think that's kind of an interesting color. It's going to get super dirty.
Yeah, it's just a weird pick for something that you know, like the world's most portable computer, right? And let's get something that'll just get grimy. I don't know. I've never owned one. Maybe they have some amazing technology that doesn't get grimy, but
no, so they definitely
do not.
they say the new Magic Keyboard is backwards compatible with the old iPad Airs, but what I want to know is whether the old iPad Airs are whether the new iPad Air is compatible with the old keyboard. Like, if you already have, like, the A14 powered iPad Air and you bought the Magic Keyboard, like, years ago when it was first introduced in, like, 2020, does that still work with the new iPad Air? They don't make that terribly clear.
Would it not? I mean, seems
like...
I
mean, maybe the new keyboard is compatible with the old iPads, but the new iPad isn't compatible with the old keyboard. They don't explicitly say that on their website. I don't think they've clarified that. But anyways, I'll be getting an iPad Air with the Magic Keyboard as well at my pick up at the Apple Store.
Man, you went on a binge.
Yep, well, I maxed out my Apple Card.
But you're returning all this stuff, right?
Well, yeah, I'm buying it for the review. Yeah.
I seriously wonder if at some point they're gonna be like, dude, we like, because they track all this stuff on your account, right? And if they see like everything that you buy, you always return. I wonder if they'll say something.
I don't think so. Like I mentioned this to the Apple Store employee when I was returning both of the Macs that I bought last fall, and it didn't seem to bother them at all. Like,
Yeah.
loads of people do this. I'm not alone.
No, I doubt that you are, but I just wonder if Apple tracks high return accounts, and at some point they're like, hey, I just wonder if they would say anything. Like, I once had a Nordstrom rack email me, and they're like, we've noticed that your account has a really high rate of returns. This is like no joke. They sent me an email, and they're like, we're just wondering why you return so much stuff. And I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with that email. It almost seems to me like they hired like some summer intern to like investigate accounts with high returns. And because I do return stuff a lot at Nordstrom Rack, like I'll buy a bunch of stuff online and then I return it to the store, which the store that's near me is like one of the highest returning, like gross return stores like in the entire country. And I was like, I'll tell you exactly why. It's because your men's section at your store is absolutely tiny. The entire store is women's. The men's section is like a 25 by 20 foot section. It's probably bigger than that. And none of the stuff that you have online is available in store ever. And I'm like right between sizes. And so the only way for me to buy stuff from you is to buy it in one or two sizes and then keep the one that fits or, return all of it. And like, so anyway, my point being like, I think like stores do track, well, they definitely track returns. I just wonder if Apple ever looks at accounts and they're like, hey, you return 90% of the stuff that you buy from us. Like, why do you do that? So if you get that email, let us know, because that would be a great great topic to have on this show that they outed you. Anyway, where are we? Sorry.
Yeah, iPad Air. It still comes in the muted colors.
Yeah.
But I got the purple one, so we'll see if it actually looks purple.
Dude, I think this is just such a great iPad. And all of like this power that they've injected into like their lower end equipment, and then for the prices that they're charging for this stuff, I just think that Apple made a huge value play right now to bring in people on the lower end of their products. You're about to say something, Lewis.
I never understood the iPad Air. I still don't to this day. It's like more iPad than probably 90% of people need, and it's not as good as the Pro. So who gets them? Apparently it's popular. I don't know. Although I think Leander said the other day in the newsletter that it never been as popular as either of the other ends.
Really?
You ever have one? I've only ever had regular iPads.
The entry-level iPad is for the budget-conscious or the ones that they sell to businesses or like schools or stuff like that. I think the iPad Air is the one that they think most consumers who are a little bit technical and can appreciate like the nicer screen and stuff and the extra features. It's the iPad for most consumers that they think most people will like, because it's the most modular. Like you get the Magic Keyboard and Apple Pencil support just like the iPad Pro, but it doesn't have the super expensive high-quality display.
Yeah. Although to your point, Lewis, I really don't know. Most people I think would be fine with just the regular iPad, especially now. And they upgraded the iPad, just the base iPad, this week as well. And if it wasn't already a great device, now with an A17 or which chip is it? Sorry, with the A16. Sorry. I just think that this is such a killer deal for the price. And this thing goes on sale all the time. Like they always drop the prices on the iPads. And this iPad will do absolutely everything I think most people would want to do.
Except for...
Well, yeah. Except for Apple Intelligence. Which is a deal breaker
deal breaker!
A deal breaker for us three, for sure. But for
my book.
the broader Apple audience, I don't know that anyone will care. And if I'm being honest, Lewis, I don't think I care at all. At all. I so rarely interact with Apple Intelligence. So my text messages won't be summarized for me. Oh no. My wife kept complaining to me that her iPad was trying to summarize her emails, and she was super annoyed. And finally I was like, well, we could turn that off if you want. Like, if you don't like it. She's like, yes, turn it off. So we went in there and turned off all the Apple Intelligence features. She did not like them. Was not a fan. She's like, I just want my email to be in the order that it came in. I just want my text messages to have regular notifications. I don't want them summarized. And so we shut all that stuff off. And I think a lot of people are in that boat.
The extent to which my family is aware of Apple Intelligence is that a few weeks ago I got a text asking, why does my iPad screen glow rainbow colors when I hold the power button? What's that?
Right.
It's a light show.
That's allegedly Siri.
I actually do like the Siri animation a lot more than I used to. It's like very effervescent, but unfortunately, the Siri itself hasn't gotten any better. So I see these iPads go on sale for like $250 all the time, and I just like, especially for kids. I have 4 of these base iPads for kids. Most of the ones I have are the Gen 9 version. Actually, my poor son, he gets like the really old ones. I don't even know what generation he's using. But like, you press the home button and it takes like 3 seconds for the app to close. I mean, that's how bad it is. So I think maybe some of these base iPads are in my future, especially because my daughter, right after we got her iPad, like sat on it with her knees.
Oh my God.
Not realizing that was not how you should treat your iPad. So like the entire screen is like totally cracked.
Oh dear.
And she felt terrible, so I tried not to make a big deal out of it because I don't want her to, feel bad. She didn't know. But now she knows. And I'm like, you got to be careful with your iPad. Like the screen's really, fragile. You can't just put it on the floor. Like my kids will like, oh, I'm done with the iPad. And they just throw it on the floor and leave it there. And I'm like, and then they roller skate around the house. I'm like, no, you can't leave it on. You can't leave it anywhere that someone can walk on it. Because like then someone will walk on it and they'll be like, you stepped on my iPad. It's not my fault. I'm like, yeah, because you left it on the ground in the middle of the hallway. So that's where feet go. You got to make sure your iPads are elevated to a place where people can't sit on them. Or you leave it on the couch, just like covered with a blanket on the couch. You sit on it and it's like, oh, something in my butt crack. Oh, it's an iPad.
Oh, that hurts.
Like, whoops. Glad I didn't break it. I think what I'm going to do is give my daughter my old iPad Pro, my 2018, which, by the way, still sells on eBay for like $300. And it's a terrific iPad. In fact, it might even be smarter to go with, I need to test out the lower-end iPads to see how nimble they are. But it might make more sense to buy like an old iPad Pro off of eBay than a new base-level iPad, because those things, their prices are really affordable from what I've seen, and you get a lot of great features and I don't know if the power level, or not the power level,
If you're getting
the
like an
performance would be the same.
A12X chip instead of like the A14, I think I would go with the base model iPad instead.
Yeah, first of all, I'm thoroughly impressed that you know what chip goes into that 2018 iPad Pro, because I had to look it up. The A12X, I'm like, man, that was so long ago. It's just bonkers. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, the performance is probably not even as good as the base level iPads are now. But dude, this is just such a great iPad. I don't care. No one cares that it doesn't have Apple Intelligence. These are like the perfect kid computers. And I would wait for these to go on sale, and I would probably buy like 2 of them. Like during Christmas, Amazon always puts them on sale. Or the absolute unbeatable sale, if you can get access to it, is the military store. Like if you're a member of the military or like the Department of Defense, you can access, I think they call it the AAFES at shopmyexchange.com. They put the iPads and Apple stuff on insane sales, and you can buy them with no sales tax. Now, you have to either know someone who has access to the store, or you have to have access to it yourself. So obviously most people don't. But like those stores are unbeatable. Barring that, the Amazon sales over the holidays, I think, are usually really good. And I might be picking up some of these new iPads. Okay, we got
And the best part about them,
yeah,
they doubled the built-in storage. It used to be 64, now it's 128
for
the same price.
Yes, yeah. I'm glad that you brought that up. I mean, again, huge value play, right? Something that we've been complaining about forever. It's like 64 gigs. So now there's not a single new iPad or Apple device that comes with storage less than 128 gigs. So Apple is finally increasing the storage on all of their devices. And dude, for the price, like I'm sorry, I feel like I'm just gushing here. I'm trying not to go overboard. But this really is such a massive value play across the lower tier of Apple's products. And the fact that they haven't raised their prices, even though they are making these things way more powerful and including more storage, is really just like good guy Apple meme, right? It's like they really are doing us a solid. And I know I've complained about some of their business practices in the past, especially with the 8 gigs. Water under the bridge, Tim. We're all good now. Like, they're making the right moves, and I'm just I'm proud that they are, even at their own, at the expense of additional profit, are making some really great consumer positive plays here. So it's really cool to see, because we don't always see this kind of thing happen. In fact, it doesn't happen very often. So it's good to finally see it. I think that's all the hardware news, but Griffin's going to tell us what's new in iOS 18.4, and then he's going to review the new iPhone 16e, which has gotten a really positive reception from people who have been using it. Before we do that, though, I just want to give a really super quick plug to CultCloth. You all know it. Well, maybe not. But if you don't have your own CultCloth, I invite you to cultcloth.co, cultcloth.co. If you're going to be buying one of these new devices, or you have an Apple Watch Ultra, dude, I don't know what it is with my Apple Watch Ultra. It gets so fingerprinty and covered with oils. And there's just nothing out there that cleans better than CultCloth, which is a product I launched in 2015. We just keep making them better, too. We just updated the designs of our carry cloths. They're even better now than they were before, and they were great before. And now they develop like this fuzzy patina. There we go. Griffin's got one right there. So the more you use it, the better the performance.
Jeez.
Look at that. Oh my gosh, your eyes are so beautiful. Griffin, I could never see your eyeballs before. Look at that. Wow. Oh, look at that. Such beautiful eyes. His glasses were so grimy before. I couldn't see them. And I didn't even know that Lewis had blue eyes. Look at that. Those beautiful blue eyes, Lewis. I thought they were brown. Turns out it was just his glasses. Anyway, I won't go on and on. I'll just say that the reason that CultCloth works so well is because they're made with a special fiber that's broken down, which increases the surface area, which increases its cleaning capability. And then these wonderful fibers are tightly woven into like these really dense cloths. So these are not like the cheap cloths that you get when you buy a pair of glasses or sunglasses or something like that. Like the difference materially is night and day, and they clean better than anything that I've used. You can get yourself some at cultcloth.co, cultcloth.co. Use code CultCast at checkout. You get a free carry cloth, extra carry cloth, I should say, with orders $20 plus. Cultcloth.co. Okay, Griffin, let's talk about iOS 18.4. If I can find this.
iOS 18.4 Beta 2
Thank you.
brings iPhone 16's visual intelligence to the iPhone 15 Pro lineup. So if you're just missing out, you're seeing all these dogs on the street and you want to know what breed they are, or you're seeing all these event posters and you don't know how to add them to your calendar because you have an iPhone 15 Pro, well, you can assign visual intelligence to the action button, and you can get easy access to that if you want to use it. iOS 18.4 Beta 2 introduces 9 new emoji, including, I would say, the emoji of 2025, face with bags under the eyes. I mean, that's... Now, this is not a political
that
podcast.
one's going to get a lot of use.
Right,
I think so,
Yep,
especially if you have kids.
a fingerprint emoji, kind of interesting. A sort of dead tree. What they describe as a root vegetable.
Generic root vegetable.
Yeah. It really looks, I mean, it's clearly a radish and not just like a...
I'm trying to find these emojis. Are these in the story?
Yeah, they're in
Oh,
the
there we
story.
are. Sorry, I
Should be.
didn't go down far enough.
I can't wait to see the root vegetable.
It's really just like a radish. They have a harp, a shovel, and for some reason, a splatter of purple goo.
Hey, never know
I'm
when you
totally
might
sure.
need to
No,
illustrate with some purple goo.
Yep.
I don't get to see a root vegetable.
I don't
That's
see these
very
anywhere.
Oh.
Are they in the store, the actual emoji?
I don't see 'em.
You
thought
didn't post
there
them.
was- It might have been like an embedded tweet or something like that in the
All
store.
right.
I don't know.
I don't see them. Okay.
Ah, what a disappointment.
All right, what else?
There's also a new Vision Pro app for iPhone. I was initially confused because I saw it was in this beta, but like I searched through my phone and I didn't see it. Apparently, it isn't automatically installed, but if you're running the beta, you can find a link and like download it from the App Store or something from one of these sites. The Vision Pro app lets you browse and download content for the Vision Pro from your iPhone, so you can like remotely download the immersive videos or like stuff to it, or browse the App Store, download apps. But really, the most important thing is that it just reminds you that the Vision Pro exists if it's maybe been like sitting in a drawer for a while. So
Hopefully not. That'd be such a shame.
Form-
Push notification. It's been 17 days since you tried your Vision Pro.
Ah, that's tragic.
The more interesting thing is Vision OS 2.4 Beta 2 on the Vision Pro introduces a new app called the Spatial Gallery. What this is it's basically TikTok for 3D pictures and videos and stuff. So like you open it and you see like a mix of like promotional images, like behind the scenes for Apple TV Plus stuff. You see the like spatial videos that people have taken around the world that are all like, you know, shot on iPhone. I don't know how Apple is like acquiring these videos, if they're like commissioning them from artists or people are sending them in somehow. But like, you have like videos of, you know, somebody like tending to their sheep in Malaysia or going skydiving or, you know, snorkeling, stuff like that. And it really is like TikTok. Like you can just like swipe through video after video after video.
That's dangerous.
Unlike
Yes.
TikTok, you can reach the end in about 30 minutes.
Ah.
Oh,
It's
jeez.
like, okay, that's everything. I don't
Is
know
it
how.
cool?
It's really cool. Yeah. There's a third party app for the Vision Pro that's kind of like this, but it's like an indie thing. And I'm pretty sure the developer doesn't actually own a Vision Pro himself because it's like really buggy and barely works. But there's a third party app that's basically the same thing called, I don't know how to pronounce it, but like FYTA, like FITA or FITA or something like that. It's a free app for the Vision Pro, and it's also kind of like that. And it has much more content because anybody with an iPhone can like submit the 3D videos that they've taken to this service. It's kind of like an Instagram for 3D stuff on the Vision Pro. It's really cool. So that's fun. iOS 18.4, Beta 2, and Vision OS 2.4. Good stuff in there. I'm excited.
How long do we think it's going to be till this arrives? Like probably another.
Apple has said April.
Yeah.
So
All right.
probably the first or second week in April.
Well, then, thanks for keeping us updated on what's coming down the pipe for iOS 18.4. Let's move on to the last story of the week. I want to hear about this iPhone 16e because I
Very
didn't
well.
think that it was going to be as hyped as it has become, I feel like, on the different social media channels that people are talking about it on. And it seems like people actually really seem to like it.
Myself included. So I was honestly a little negative in the last two episodes.
I think we all kind of were.
But then I got it in my hands. And let me tell you, this is an incredible iPhone.
Huh.
The first thing you notice is that I looked up in advance. Oh, it's 15% lighter than my iPhone 16 Pro. Whatever. That'll be kind of interesting. But you have no idea how much lighter 15% actually feels. It's a world of a difference. Like, I feel like the hump of when a phone becomes too heavy is like just slightly above where this is. And because it's just like a little lower, like I'm like holding it one-handed in bed, like above my face. Like, you know, it's kind of a straining position after like 20 minutes or so. I don't get tired holding this. It's incredible. The second thing you notice is how small the camera is stays out of the way of your hands no matter where you hold it. I hold my phone in my left hand. And on my 16 Pro, I guess for the people watching, I'll do a visual demonstration of this. The corner of the camera bump is always right where my pointer finger naturally wants to rest. It's always in the way. So I have to like fidget how I hold it so that I'm not like constantly smearing my camera lenses. On the iPhone 16e, I can hold it how I would naturally hold it. And I can't even reach the camera with my finger.
Yeah, it's way up
I
there.
can do like a whole like windshield wiper swipe across the back of the phone and not even touch it. It's great. It's really great. It also just like looks really clean.
Yeah, it is super svelte.
I think this is maybe one of the most attractive iPhones that Apple has made in a long time. Just because you don't have that giant ugly like camera wart on the side, and it just looks so neat. I've never purchased a white iPhone before, but it just looks really cool.
Yeah, it does.
And also when you're looking at it like face forwards, you know, you see like the black and silver color combination that just like kind of reminds me of like the iPhone 4 or the iPhone, 5S. Black and silver rather than like black on black, I just think is a really really nice looking color combination. You know, I just
Aesthetic
look at it.
matters, and it having like a minimalist, beautiful aesthetic, that alone would be reason for a lot of people to like want to buy it. And there's a lot of people who want to simplify and don't want to have all the whiz bang features. They just want like a regular phone that they can do regular stuff on, and if it looks beautiful, and if the price is lower, that's kind of all they might be looking for.
If this phone honestly feels like a teaser trailer for the iPhone 17 Air.
I was just thinking that same thing. Yeah, especially if
Because-
it's lighter.
Yeah, it's super light. It has a single camera. I mean, it doesn't have all the advanced features, but again, the iPhone 17 Air is supposed to like make up for some of that. This is a great phone. The colors, it only comes in black and white. As I mentioned, Apple's official line is that if you want color, you can add a case. Well, I looked at their cases in the store, and almost all of their cases are boring and terrible as well. First of all, 2 out of the 5 options are black and white again. So what's the point in that? One of them is like this ugly dark green that kind of looks like pond scum, and then they have like blue and pink. So
These are the
sure,
cases
you
you're
have-
talking about.
Yeah. I have it right here. I haven't tried Apple silicone case in a while,
Yeah,
and
I really
it's a pretty
just
nice case.
I really
like
just hate that blue color. I really just hate it.
So very basic and boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of bad hotel artwork. You know how you go into a hotel and it's like, what is that? Someone paid money for that artwork. It's like, if you're going to have artwork, have it be good.
Here's the nice thing about the case, though. Because the camera is so small, there's no extra lip on the case.
Mm-hmm.
So you just add this case, and it's not even especially thick, but then your phone sits completely flat on the table.
Wow. It's like the mock-up that Prosser had that we never got.
That's it.
Yeah.
The
we've
iPhone with the
cracked-
flat back.
We've cracked the code. That's what he got. Wow.
Anyways, what else? It only has a single camera, but even the main lens is so good now. Almost all of the pictures that I take are in that 1x to 2x range anyway. So I didn't really feel like I missed the telephoto one, I especially didn't miss the ultra wide one. I only really take ultra wide or telephoto pictures when I'm like on vacation and I need that extra reach, or I want to take like a big sweeping like landscape shot. But aside from that, just the one camera, because you get that optical 2x zoom, it's perfectly fine. It's great. What else? The camera control. I actually miss the camera control.
What?
Wow.
Did not expect that.
No.
I've sort of internalized that when I'm using my phone, I can like squeeze the bottom right corner to like instantly open the camera. I found myself doing that constantly with this phone.
And then you
I
broke
kind
it?
of wish Apple had just put on like a basic like camera button, like just a button, kind of like the action button, but like on the opposite side, so that you could just like open the camera. And then I realized I actually wish it was just a basic button on all the phones.
Does that have
could've
the
just
action
done
button on
that.
there?
It has the action button.
Okay,
yes.
okay. That actually, the action button has become one of my most used buttons. Like I use the flashlight on my phone so much. Like, so being able to like activate. Of course, now it's not working. Oh, there we go. Being able to activate the flashlight with one button is one of my favorite things that they've added to the iPhone.
The next point I want to make, MagSafe.
Yeah.
This phone doesn't have MagSafe, but I did test it because I have this MagSafe like pop socket combination thing
Okay.
that I'll probably talk about on the show again in the future. But like, you just snap it on here, and I tested this with my various MagSafe stands. If you put on like a fake MagSafe ring like this one, and then put it on like a MagSafe charger, it'll work perfectly fine. It'll even work if you attach like a MagSafe battery pack on this. It'll
Wait,
work just
what?
fine. Yeah.
How does
So-
that thing
so, like-
attach to your phone?
Yeah.
Well, this thing, this particular product, which I'll link in the show notes, it just has like a little sticker, and it's
So it's like
sort of,
an
you know,
adhesive.
sort of like sticker suction cup thing, and you
Okay.
just stick it on there.
And
it's
you
also
can
really
remove
thin.
it
It's
and
like-
huh.
and
I'm
you
not
can-
familiar with this.
You're telling me that if you attach a MagSafe battery pack to that disc that you just stuck onto your phone, it will charge. So they so let me get this straight then. The charging technology is in there.
Yeah,
but the
because
magnets
it
are
still
not.
does wireless charging. It'll effectively
But
work.
it's
It
slow.
effectively works as if it's a Qi charger that just so happens to perfectly align itself using magnets.
Okay.
You don't-
Okay. I gotcha. That makes sense because the Qi charging still works if you have like a flat surface to plop it on.
Yeah, if you have the MagSafe wallet, then it won't do the fancy thing where it like detects that you've detached the wallet, but it'll still do charging. It'll just be at the slower 7.5 watt speed
Right.
instead of 25.
Right. Okay.
So
Dang,
that's
dude.
great. So like, if you're interested in an iPhone 16e, but you're like, oh, but it doesn't have MagSafe. Most people put their phone in a case. Just buy a third-party case that has a MagSafe ring, and then it'll work perfectly fine.
Right.
Like Spigen, OtterBox, all of those companies are making cases that have MagSafe on them because they probably assumed that the phone was going to have MagSafe anyways. And then you can still use all your accessories. And that's really the biggest drawback with the phone, aside from the price.
Right. And most people use their, and you may have just said this, most people use their phones with a case anyways. So like that, now you don't get the faster charging. So that's a drawback. But you still get all the MagSafe accessibility, functionality.
It has the C1 chip. I tested the C1. A lot of the other reviewers, Jason Snell, John Gruber, who live in like actual civilization, they tested the C1 chip and they're like, yeah, it works fine in like urban environments. It does 5G. It does all that stuff. I have the sort of opposite kind of stress test where I perpetually have a terrible cellular connection. I always have like 2 bars of 4G if I'm lucky.
Jeez.
And you know what? The C1 works perfectly fine in this situation too. I did speed tests inside my car, inside my garage, in my living room, like direct speed comparisons. It pretty much performs exactly the same. So you don't have to worry about the C1. It seems like it's a perfectly cromulent modem. Honestly, if I were to go with the 16E, I think the biggest thing I would miss is the ProMotion display. It's still only 60 hertz, and I know some people can't tell the difference. I am the sort of person who can immediately spot the difference, and it just looks choppy and old to me. I miss having ProMotion. There was a minor issue when I was setting this device up where I had installed the 18.4 beta on my personal phone before I picked it up. And I didn't realize that the 18.4 beta wouldn't be available on the 16E last Friday or whenever it was. So I couldn't restore from an iCloud backup. I couldn't do the direct device transfer thing. I had to set this phone up from scratch. So sadly, it didn't really have all my stuff on it. And that was kind of a pain. I would have liked to use this as my one and only phone for like the full week and a half that I had it, but it was too annoying. And so I caved and I transferred back to my 16 Pro after I was done writing the review and making the video. But every time I picked this up just incidentally in the days since then, I'm like, man, this is a really great phone.
Huh.
I honestly wish I could have more time with it because it is really great.
Well, you could have more time with it.
Yeah, it's true.
I could. 18.4 beta 2 is now available for it. I could set it up again, but I mean, there are so many more reviews that I have to do with the MacBook Air and iPad Air that I can't be bothered.
Well, I think I think maybe Lewis was implying you could just keep it.
I could. Well,
but you don't need to do that. You just bought a new phone. You don't need. I mean, as pleasant as that phone experience has been, like the phone that you own now is better. So it's like, why it would be a downgrade for sure. So you don't want to do that. All right, look, I thoroughly enjoyed that review, but the truth of the matter is, we're out of time. That's it. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But hey, you know what? If you want the party to continue, you can head on over to support.thecultcast.com and fork it over and come join us in the Cult Club. You can also send us a text. It's going to be in any podcast app that you use. It's at the very top of the show notes, and it's super easy to do. And we'll be reading those texts in on the show in future shows, and also probably for future segments. I think that's it. I feel like there's something else I was going to say, but we have more. Yeah, what?
A new episode of the CultCast comes out every Thursday night.
Oh, well, I was going to say, this has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute album conversation you can hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, for hanging out live, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you for reminding me. I was going to just sit there staring blankly. Just blinking slowly. and saying nothing. You saved me. I appreciate that. Sometime I should have you guys do the end and see if you can do it. Think you can do it,
Not
Lewis?
even gonna try. Not even gonna try.
I bet you could, Lewis. I bet you could.
Take a lot of practice.
You know what? I've been doing it for 13 years, and I feel like I still can't do it. I always forget. How is that even possible? All right, everyone. Hope you have a great weekend.